Give folks a little time to get in. It's good to the people that's joining. Give us a couple seconds. We're going to be talking about higher consciousness and, all of the crap that's going on here. So we're going to get into a little bit. We're going to try to explain it simply, and then we'll get into the devil of the details and see what discussion comes out. So what's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all joining in. We'll give everyone a few minutes to get in and we'll get started. This is Spacecast number 6. And the Spacecast is just a podcast that we're recording live. So appreciate that. Don't have much that I want to go over. I'm gonna try to see if we can explain this simply and see what discussion comes up and kind of get some feedback from you guys. So that's kind of the intent. So just hold tight for a minute and then we'll jump into it. Because not everyone is punctual. Hey, what's going on, Box True Warrior? What's up, boss? Yeah, so what we're gonna try to do here is explain this very simply. And the devil is in the details. And I'm looking for your feedback to let me know where I'm wrong at, and any input that you have. We'll have a conversation. Also brought this book, and we may get into this. We'll see. Hey, what's going on, Octavia? And we may get into this, the different religions and all of these things, and just kind of see. The one thing when you read this book, and there's several different religions in here, where most people identify with the belief system, they don't necessarily look at the other ones, right? So they make a judgment on this page, let's say this page, without looking at all the other pages. And that's a hard thing to look at because there's over 4,200 religions. So how can you know yours is the right one? I'm sure everyone thinks theirs is the right one and the other one is not. But how much research have you done in looking at the other ones? And the whole sidestep of that point is, who is the person looking at this? Who's the person reading the book? Who's the person experiencing this belief system? That is the most important thing, not the belief system. Sounding board is great, but I always trust with no other sources. You're right, boss. You're right. Yeah, and but the exercise that I'm playing with this is, so we know what's true for ourselves. But it's not even a matter of convincing. Like, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything because you are who you are, right? I'm not adding anything to that. We talk about this all the time. The spiritual journey is about removing the programming that made us think we were something else to reveal what we are. So we are what we are. So I'm not going to convince someone that they're other than what they are. But there's a whole, and we're going to get into it, just this the way the matrix programs us and indoctrinates us on a large scale. And I just want to see if people are able, and I know it's futile in a sense, but if we don't try, if we don't do something, then it's going to continue. So something has to be done. So we're playing with how to show people the potential, and then they can have their own journey, but just show them that there's something there, right? So we'll get into it in a little bit. What we got here? Yeah. So all righty. I guess we'll get started. So this is the simple explanation, right? Now, I did a video on this before. So matter is a subset of consciousness, okay? Now, I'm trying to make this very simple and not get into the devil in the details, but we can get into the devil in the details, And if you guys want to share the live, this is what this TikTok is encouraging me to say. So if you want to share that, that's fine. Appreciate the likes and all that good stuff. But that's why I put the asterisks here, right? So matter is a subset of consciousness and the devil is in the details. Most people get caught up in the details and don't even realize who is the being or the spirit or the soul or the consciousness that's arguing over these details. And this whole matrix is built up to keep us separated and fighting over details that really don't matter, don't benefit the whole. That's the system that we're in now. So I did a video before with 100 pennies, just showing how the only way 1 penny can control 99 pennies is if the 99 pennies don't know their value. So the whole intent with this is to show people their own intrinsic value and how the matrix tried to strip that away from us. And that's how they control us. That's how they turn us from lions to sheep, from gods to followers and to worshipers, right? You know, they made kings and queens worship lords, basically. All right, so we'll go ahead and get into it. So this is the reality that we're in right now. I hope you guys can see this pretty good. Let's make this a little bit bigger, okay? So at the bottom right here is matter, and at the top here is consciousness. So the mainstream scientific theories are that consciousness is a result of complex brain activity in the brain, right? So matter is primary, and by some means of magic, consciousness appeared out of this unintelligent, just matter, right? This just stupid thing created this intelligence that we have now that is able to have an experience, right? And they call it a hard problem because it's a hard problem. And science really only deals with things that they can measure. You can't measure consciousness. You can't measure the non-physical. We're all experiencing consciousness, which is a non-physical thing, which exists. So that in turn shows the non-physical does exist, right? But mainstream science doesn't deal with consciousness because you can't measure, right? So they just leave that alone. But that's the reality that we live in. So they want you to believe and interact and act as if it's just stuff, unintelligent billiard balls banging against each other, and that's what we are. You know, there's no higher consciousness to it. That's what it is, right? It's just matter just banging against each other. And when matter bangs against each other, it creates everything that you see here. And if it bangs against each other in a certain way, it creates your conscious experience, right? And that doesn't make that much sense. I mean, how can a bang create anything, right? Anyway, we won't get into that. So this is kind of the mainstream, right? Now, this is what I'm saying. So this is and I colored this blue because this is the blue pill. You know, a lot of people are stuck in this matrix of matter. They don't even know who they are. They're interacting as if they're just billiard balls of matter and, you know, like pool balls on the table, just being unconsciously just moved around. So we can call this the sleep state, right? Because their consciousness they're not even tuned to their own consciousness. The red pill, and this is what I'm trying to explain, is that consciousness is primary, right? Consciousness is the base of everything, and matter is a result of consciousness. So I did a video before where I was saying matter is a subset of consciousness and not the other way around, right? And we're trying to make this very, very simple. Just keep it on a very simple level, okay? Now, it doesn't look like a big difference, but it's a huge difference because the conscious beings that we are, right? Instead of us being on the top and just some miracle of matter creating this experience that we have, we're actually the miracle, and matter is created from consciousness. So our consciousness is at the base. Consciousness is primary, matter is secondary, not the other way around, right? So that's roughly a red pill and a blue pill, if you will, okay? So let's compare the two. So the blue pill, matter is primary and consciousness is a result of matter. Whereas the red pill, consciousness is primary and matter is a subset of consciousness. So consciousness is primary, right? Big difference there. And as conscious beings, we're at the base of this. So when you raise your awareness, raise your consciousness, when you connect to your higher self, you're really connecting to the base of all reality, right? That's the base of all reality. That's you. That's why when we say you're God, that's what we're talking about. This is the thing that's primal to matter. That's your consciousness. That's what you are, right? Now, the blue pill would say that matter is primary and consciousness is on top of that. And they don't attribute consciousness to any, well, they can. They don't, it's a mystery to them. And it's still a mystery, right? I mean, there's still mystery to this thing. But that's the difference, right? Yeah, I appreciate it. So it's very, we're keeping it very simple. The devil's in the details. We can get into the details, but those are the two main distinctions, right? For the people that are joining, the blue pill is matter is primary and consciousness is a result of matter. The red pill is consciousness is primary and matter is the result of consciousness, right? Now, this is a big distinction, right? And again, when we talk about us being God or source or whatever, we're just talking labels here. We're talking about this base reality that we're connected to, the non-local consciousness that we all are, this consciousness that is experience space-time. Space-time is built on top of consciousness, and consciousness is not built on top of space-time, right? So I hope that makes a little sense, okay? So a lot of you already know this. I'm preaching to the choir, right? I get that. And there's a lot of people, a lot of content creators on TikTok that talk about these things in detail and answer a lot of questions, and that's cool. My journey is really to be more out front and to be more bold, but I want to do it in as simple as way as possible. I'm not trying to complicate things, but we can get into the details if you wish. So we're just keeping it simple, right? Red pill, blue pill, right? Now, many people have made their choices by now. With all of the information in the world, with the amount of things that you can research just by what you're looking at on your phone now, ignorance is a choice in this day and age. So all of this information is out there. The resources are out there. They can't hide that with the internet and us being able to share our own stories and things on social media. And there's a lot of support with other people going through the same journey, because a lot of the people that are on this side that have raised their consciousness are interacting with people that haven't. And these people will try to gaslight you and try to make you feel like you're crazy for thinking consciousness is primary and raising your consciousness and getting in contact with that part of you that is beyond matter and time, right? They think that's crazy, right? They are on this side, but this side exists. We're examples of that. Most of us on here are examples of that. The problem with our examples is we're spread out. Once we make a unified show of, not even a show of force, but just a show of unity, it will show on a higher level that this is reality. Now, those of us that have decided which side we want to be on, there's more value in this side. There's more freedom in this side. There's more liberation in this side. There's more growth in this side. There's more evolution in this side. This side is going to continue to give us what we have now. This reality is built on this. The reality that we want to create is built on this, right? This reality is built on limitation. This reality is built on trickle down. This reality is built on the elites controlling the masses. The reality we want to create is trickle up, where we're in control and we create the reality we want to experience. Right now, we're experiencing the reality they want us to create. We're co-creators. We're creator. We're gods. We create on this planet. The problem is, on this side, they've co-opted our creative process either by inaction, allowing them to continue to do what they've done, or by just going with the flow, if you will, and saying this is how it is, this is how it's always done, or some of the programs that they give us on this side is waiting for someone to save us. It's like, yeah, it's a problem, it's messed up, this is all crappy, but you can't do nothing. Someone else has to come and save you and do things for you that you can't do for yourself, right? That's the value depreciation that they give us. That's why the 99% feel like they can't do nothing. They've been programmed their whole life that they can't. They've been looking to authority figures their whole life. They've been going to see the preacher, the supervisor, the teacher. They haven't learned to go within and do their own research and question things and find out their own answers, have their own experience. We're so caught up in authority and things of that nature, being told what to do, being shown things like we can't figure this out for ourselves. So that's why some people don't want to take this journey, because it involves responsibility. You have to, you're taking control of your life, of all of it. You're not giving anyone the wheel, because you don't know what intentions they have. Just think about it. No one else is going to know what's best for you better than you. But we tend to think other people have our best interests at heart. And they've lied to us and they've gaslighted us. And we're used to that. We're used to the lying politician and the lying preacher, but we haven't been shown the alternative to that, because those are the people that are in those authority positions. And then what we tend to do is we just vote for another one to come in. All righty, hold on one second. We're going to allow some people to come in, but let me just finish this, and then we'll let some people come in. All right. What was that? So you'll be gifted insider because of your authentic self. Love you, glad. Gifted outsider. So okay. All righty. So, but this is the bridge. So we're a part of that bridge, right? The people that are on this side that know consciousness is primary, know their gods, right? That's the red pill. That's the people that are on this side. And we're the bridge for the people that are on this side that haven't had that realization yet, that haven't realized. All right, I'm going to just finish this, and then we're going to open it up, because I want to have some discussion. So just hold 1 second. I know when I was trying to talk to the there was one atheist I wanted to get on and kind of talk to him with, and he kept putting me on hold. So I'm gonna try to get to y'all, but just let me finish this real quick, and then we'll get to the back and forth. Because last time I did that, there was a blue puppet on talking something. Anyway, so this is the bridge, okay? We're going somewhere. This is the bridge. Now, what I've attempted to create as a bridge is what I call the 100-degree challenge, right? And it's a systematic set of steps or questions that you can ask that would just show that this is just possible, right? We want people to have their own experience. We want people to realize this for themselves. But the first step is to show that there's something to realize, to show that there's something to experience, to show that there's something there, to at least show for one that it's possible. Let's just open up the possibility and the probability of there being more to this reality. Is it possible that consciousness is primary to matter, right? Is that even possible? Science is coming up to this and banging up to this, and eventually we'll come to this realization. But I feel that with the way that the reality is going now, I don't know if we can wait on science to catch up. And we'll get into science being a tool as well, and can have dogmatic beliefs and things of that nature. Science isn't necessarily always about uncovering the truth. Sometimes they're about other agendas. And when you have money involved, it's easy to control an agenda. If I'm paying you to do a certain amount of research, or I want certain results back, it can be doctored. You can fake data as well. So don't think that science is infallible, especially when it's done by people, especially when it's done by people that want power and control and things of that nature, especially when you have money and profit involved, right? And this reality is built on money and profit. So keep all that in mind. So the 100-degree challenge is a bridge going from the blue pill to the red pill. And it's just a series of questions, a series of facts that show that it's possible. And it really removes the layers that have been thrown on us that makes us think that we're our jobs, our professions, our egos, our races, our colors, all of these things that keep us divided, all of these things that keep us divided, right? When you remove that, what's left is consciousness. That's what's there. That's what's always been there, right? That's what's left. So the 100-degree challenge removes all of that other stuff and leaves that. And that's a bridge showing that's possible. And there's plenty of people that have crossed that bridge. Now, a lot of you guys have crossed it in the past. A lot of the great people that religions are built around are just people that have had this realization, and nobody's special. The consciousness that they're tapping into, the Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is the same consciousness that you're experiencing now. There's just different levels to it. They're just experiencing more of it, right? So that's the bridge. And I put a challenge out there. I wanted to be fact checked because I've used facts. This isn't my information. Like, I don't know the truth. You don't know the truth. No one knows the truth. So I don't identify with any belief systems or anything, right? So if something that I'm saying is wrong, I'm saying, prove me wrong. You know, if I'm a true scientist, if I'm someone that's truly looking for the truth, then I shouldn't be upset if someone shows me more information or something that I don't know. I know there's plenty that I don't know, right? So this is just the basics. So that's the bridge. So that's there. And that's solid. I mean, I've followed my own protocol as someone that reprogrammed myself to the best of my ability, just using my consciousness and nature. Hey, what's going on, Janice? So that's, you know, I'm living proof of it, and you guys are living proof as well. But the thing is just standing up to the naysayers, the doubters, and the gaslighters and saying, okay, if you're saying something is wrong and not possible, what is? Explain to me. I've tried to make this as simple as possible. Which one of these degrees is wrong? Which one of these things is not true? You know, and what is your evidence to the contrary? You know, how are you determining that it's not true? And we can get into those details, right? Hey, what's going on? So 100-degree challenge, just imagine it being bridge. And I did a little TikTok on this before, right? So that's a bridge. Now, 100-degree challenge is based on water going from 0 degrees to 100 degrees. It's a change in state, right? 0 degrees is ice, 100 degrees is steam. It's the same thing, just a change in state, right? So it's like raising your consciousness, raising your awareness, getting in contact with your higher self, your I am, whatever name you want to call it, just a label, is like water becoming steam, okay? This reality is the majority of people that are water, and they will gaslight us and make us think that steam doesn't exist, but we're talking about the same thing. They're connected to the same thing. So they're saying that a part of them doesn't exist, which isn't true, right? So that's the play on that 100-degree challenge, ice to steam, right? So ice, take it to 100 degrees, you have steam. Now, I call it the 100-degree challenge because 90-degree water is just 90-degree water. It's still not steam. 80-degree water is 80-degree water. 98-degree water is 98-degree water. 100-degree water, it takes the extra degrees to become steam, to have a change of state. So a lot of the people that are going to gaslight us are people that haven't done the work to turn themselves from water into steam, and they're saying that steam doesn't exist. And they're the same thing that we are. They're the same consciousness. They've just been programmed to believe that matter is primary and consciousness is on top of that versus the other way around, right? So that area in between is the flux that we're in. That's the turbulence that we're in now, right? This world is just, the old world's not coming back, right? All of the things that are going on now, a new reality is being created. Now, this is our opportunity to interject ourselves into this new reality. Now, there are also people that are posturing in this new reality to gain more control because this information is out there. So they're trying to gain more control. They're trying to limit things and limit information. It's going to be hard because the internet's here and we're all able to share and interact with each other, but they can still control it and slow it down and really try to lock us down before we're able to unlock ourselves. So there's a time factor involved in as well. And the hole that we're in, the longer that we allow them to dig the hole deeper, the farther out the hole we have to come out of. So I want us to stop the bleeding. I want us to be able to start healing, you know, and let's put a Band-Aid on this thing. What are you saying? So balance, it's on the scale. Balance is all on the scale of what's put in reverse. So happy to be here for this. Okay, no, I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all joining. Balance, it's all on the scale. Yeah, there's definitely balance. Balance is key, absolutely. And when we can get into that, we can get into that as well. All righty, so that's where we are now, right? And I'm trying to make this very simple. If you're conscious, you know, if you're not an NPC, if you will, you're a conscious being. That consciousness is primary to matter, right? Not what they have taught us to believe, that we're just matter interacting with each other and consciousness just happens to pop on top of us, right? So that's the distinction, right? Now, let's get into a little bit of the detail because I want to show you this, because this is the part that people don't see. Because one of the things I hear is, all right, if this is true, if this is actually true, and you're laying out the logic and facts and steps, not using your own information, mainstream things that you would see if you did your own research. Most people don't do their own research. If this is true, why isn't this on the news, right? That's a good question. Why isn't this on the news? People assume that the news is there to enlighten you or to liberate you or to give you useful information or to give you knowledge and things of that nature. No. Our news is not geared towards that. Just think about news for a second. For one, let's just look at the monetary system. Most people don't bite the hand that feeds them, right? Most dogs don't bite the hand that feeds them. Your news is not fed by you. Your news is fed by the people that advertise on the news, right? They pay for the whole show. Their job is to get people to watch it so that the advertising is passed, you know, you see the advertisement. The same model as Facebook and online things. Their job is to get you to look at this screen for as long as possible so they can sell that to other people. And that's how they make money, right? Exactly opposite. Yeah, exactly opposite of what you need. So that's the way that the game is made up. So it's all about attention. And one of the ways that they get our attention is fear. They use a lot of fear, a lot of fear. They try to get you scared. I know you've probably heard, if it bleeds, it leads, right? So this type of stuff is not going to help the agenda as far as control, as far as just making people consume and consume and consume. This is going to destabilize the matrix. This is going to allow a different reality that doesn't involve the 99% being controlled by the 1%, right? They taught me as a journalist. Well, yeah, if it bleeds, it leads, right? Yeah, exactly. And it's playing on human emotion. They play on our core emotion. I mean, you think about it. These people, they have people that are paid to study our behavior, I mean, these are psychologists, these are behavioral specialists that look at what it takes to get us to react to these things. So they have some resources that we don't have, and they use those resources not to enlighten us, but to enrich them. Hey, I got to, I go up against the V2K voice machine. Trying to control. V2K voice machine, 24/7 tracking. That's interesting. We might have to do a little more on that. Mind over matters to key to passive. That's true. That's true. That is true. All righty. So any questions on this, as far as the simplicity of it? I'm trying to get feedback on the simplicity. I'm trying to get the E equals MC squared kind of deal and really just make it simple. Again, the devil's in the details. They are good at dividing us, right? By all of these things, all of these religions, all of these doctrines, belief systems, because they want us to be in all of these different rabbit holes. So that keeps us fighting each other and not realizing that we're one and the same. We're part of the same consciousness, okay? Now, going back to the news, let's talk about the news, right? I want to show you guys this video right here, right? Now just take a look at this.
While polls show Americans are increasingly worried about so-called fake news, they also show that many trust their local news more than other sources. The largest owner of local stations in the country is Sinclair Broadcasting. A viral video of Sinclair news anchors has again raised concerns about the way in which the company mixes news with partisan political opinion. William Brangham updates his story about the broadcast giant that originally ran last year.
So watch this.
A train derailment in Tennessee.
Okay, so this is all local news, right? This is supposed to be news all over the country, right? Your local news broadcasters. My granddad, he watches the news all the time. He believes everything that's on the news. A lot of people do. They wouldn't even imagine that there was coordination in the script that they're given, that they're reading the script. I mean, they may understand that they're reading something that's written, but they may feel that the newscaster is actually reading that, right? No words too big and pictures help a lot. It's right, but the key is to balance your thoughts that come to you. All right, so let's finish this real quick.
Routine road maintenance has led to a squabble.
We have some breaking news.
Group
Plan for the
local TV former member Utah across the country.
If for Trump, I'm in local.
Alarmed because the merger
real step machine.
While the
for Sinclair. And here he was again on WEAR and created this compilation of a political bent. Its executives declined to talk with us on air. This weekend, the online site Deadspin created this compilation of dozens of Sinclair's local newscasters recording an identical promo accusing the national media of spreading fake news.
And agenda control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 The video spread quickly on social media, again stirring criticism of the broadcast giant.
All right. So these are all local stations reporting, reading the same script, right? So I want to know who writes the script. And this script obviously doesn't have the stuff that we're talking about in it. And this script isn't any red pill kind of stuff, right? It's all this kind of stuff. And then when you really go down a rabbit hole, and we're just playing on the top of it, you look at the media, who controls the media, right? And this is something you can look at, right? Say in 1983, 50 companies own 90% of the media, right? Then there was a Telecommunications Act of 1996. In other words, 90% of the media is owned by 6 companies now. Viacom, News Corporation, Comcast, CBS, Time Warner, and Disney. So 90% of what you see is owned by 6 people, right? Not 6 people, but 6 corporations. And there's even another level to that, okay? So this is just one example, right, of some type of coordination behind the scenes, right? And they're talking about fake news, and these things about fake news is bad, but it's so, you got it right, it's so inverted, you know, because the fake news is talking about fake news, right? And it's just crazy. This reality is like inverted, you know, pretty much. But that's something that a lot of people don't even feel or don't even think it's possible that there could be someone writing a script behind the scenes, right? And let's say there is a script writer, there's evidence of the script writer, right? All of these people are reading the same script. Do they question the script? No, they just read the script because they're paid to do this. So, you know, money can coerce people into doing things that, you know, don't make sense, right? Some people will sell out for money. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk through on that. So where is all of this going, okay? Let's see, do we know who writes the script? Who has control over that? Well, not exactly. I mean, you can say like this particular video was talking about Sinclair Broadcasting, and this was on PBS, and they were trying to get some information. I mean, you can look at this video yourself. You can just look on YouTube, newscaster, all saying the same thing, and you can look at the same video. But yeah, they are actors, definitely. Newscasters are actors. They're just reading the script. I mean, our politicians are actors. That's why you can have reality star shows and actors and everything interact with politics. I remember someone saying that politics is like acting for non-attractive people. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not. Yeah, definitely puppets. And if they're puppets, there's a puppet master, right? And we don't get to see the puppet master, but we can tell that there's strings being pulled, right? These are just examples. And it's made to divide us, the left and right, you know, they're both sides of the same coin. It's like wrestling. You know, it's making us look like one person's winning and all the other one's going to win. And they give us a fake choice. We don't like this one, and then they're just going to say vote for the other one, but the same agenda gets followed. You know, the same freedoms, regardless of who's in office, are being constricted. The rich are still getting poorer. I mean, the rich are still getting richer, regardless of who's in office. You know, companies are still consolidating wealth and power and resources, regardless of who's in office. When you really look at our political system, it's really a tool of the corporations. You look at, and I may post a video on this when I was doing research on the last election when Trump and Hillary were running against each other. I was looking at the campaign contributions, and this is all stuff that you can look up yourself. I mean, it's public information. People don't look that up. You know, follow the money, follow the paper trail, and you can see that there were certain large corporations donating to both sides. You know, they don't care who's in office because they can lobby, they have the money, they can fund their campaigns, and they're going to get favors in return. You think they're just doing that because they love democracy? That's not the case. There's an agenda behind what they want to do as well. And when you really look at these multinational global corporations, they're operating multinationally, and they use regional politicians to basically make money, to help write laws and things of that nature to benefit them. These laws are not benefiting us, right? For the main part of it. I mean, some people may feel that way. I do not feel that these laws are benefiting us, right? So we're seeing that there are strings being pulled. We don't know who's the puppet master, V2K technology. Yeah, you got. I'm gonna have to look that up. V2K technology. So this is where I think this is going, and tell me what you guys think. All right. So we went from showing this, right? Red pill, blue pill. Consciousness is primary, and matter is a subset of consciousness. So when we say we're God, when we say we're all there is and things of that nature, that's what we're talking about. We're consciousness. All of you that are watching this that are consciousness, your consciousness is primary to matter, right? And your consciousness is that immortal part of yourself, right? That's the part that was here before you were born and to be here before you die, right? I mean, here after you die, right? Because it's beyond space and time, okay? So, because space and time is created on top of consciousness, okay? All right, so the reason they want to keep us here is because they have the matter, they have the resources and the media and the influence to try to limit our consciousness. So they don't even want us to talk about this stuff. They just want us to focus purely on the materialistic things. They want us to worship material things, worship people that have a lot of material things. They make us want to follow these stars because they put it in our face like they're happy and this is what we should aspire to be rich and famous and things of that nature, just to be part of the system that is not benefiting us, right? And a lot of people want to follow that dream, but that dream is in a fake reality and it's false, and it doesn't give you any more self-realization of who you are. It doesn't make you any happier. I mean, look at how sick and miserable some of these rich people that have all this material stuff. They're trying to fill a hole that can't be filled with materialistic things, with material things, and it doesn't work. So they have to keep trying. It's like a constant thing. They're just on a treadmill going nowhere, and they don't even know who they are for the most part. So where is this going? They want us to, I think, they want to constrict us into more matter and more matter. And it's going to really go into a virtual world. And this is where you can see the timeline going. And this is Ready Player One, right?
And I ended up here, sitting here in my tiny corner of nowhere. There's nowhere left to go. Nowhere.
All right. So just think about it. There's this thing called predictive programming as well, where they give you a future of, give you a vision of the future. And Hollywood is very good at giving us visions of a lot of things. Give you a vision of the future. And it's like, if we don't change it, it automatically kind of, we get co-opted into creating it, or we allow it to happen. I can talk about things with virtual reality and things, and they can say, oh, I saw it on Ready Player One, or I saw this on The Matrix, or I saw this on that. It's almost like priming us that this is a acceptable future for humanity. How many movies have you seen where humanity is an awakened society, where humanity has figured out a way to live in balance with nature and with each other, where they're peaceful, where they've done things that are beyond our imaginations? Where are those movies at? Most of the movies we see have a dystopian future where the earth is damaged and zombies are here and all of this crap, right? But this is where we're going in the intern, right?
Except the oasis.
Right, and that's the metaverse, if you will. So what they're essentially doing, or the virtual reality world, what they're essentially doing is really creating the real matrix, right? And getting people to spend the majority of their time there. That gets you further away from who you truly are, further away from having experience of higher consciousness and things of that nature. Now you're going to be in this virtual world where more control is going to be enacted on you, because they can't control what I say. I'm not an NPC. You guys aren't NPCs. But if we're in a virtual reality, how would you know if someone was real or not, right? V2K. Yeah, we're going to look up V2K in a little bit. I'm going to see what that is. I'm going to put that right here. Alrighty. But
virtual universe.
You just look, right? Virtual universe, right? I showed this on this side of the matrix. Like, this is a haptic suit, and it's not to this level yet. Technology will get it there, where, and this is in one of the this side of the matrix will news things, but you can see they've already created one where you can feel a certain amount of touch, right? And they're talking about using this for virtual porn and all of these things. But basically they want to make this virtual experience as real as this experience to take you away from this experience, right? And they're just going to mine more of your time, more of your data, more control in this controlled reality. They can't control this reality, but they can control everything in this reality. So they're trying to get us into this reality and make it seem like it's going to be freer and we're going to be able to do all this cool stuff and all of these things. But that's the intent, right? And if you look at the real world in this movie, I mean, that's the real world. That's where people are actually living. They're living in trailers. There's no green there. There's smog, it's pollution. But in the virtual world they're in, it's pretty, it's green, and it's all of these things. So that's where they're taking us, right? I mean, that's the timeline that we're on. And by default, if we don't do anything, that's what's going to happen. Yes, you meant to. Yes, you're meant to be here to tell us this puzzle piece. Well, I'm just one pixel on the screen, man. We're all pixels. And while I'm here, you know, I don't have a lot of resources. I don't have a lot of money and things of that nature, but I have my experience and I have my will to help and be of service. And information is one way that I can help and just give good information and just help other people and just be an example, just be someone to stand here and not move, right? And to show an example of that and to show that these people can't gaslight. You can't gaslight a light. We're the lights. You can't gaslight a light, right? So to show that example on the highest level is what I want to do because I feel it's necessary, not because I'm anything special, because we're all special. And sometimes we just need to see an example of something for us to say that that's possible, and then we can move towards that. All righty, so you have source and you're connected to yours. Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm glad that it resonates, and that's the thing. The truth feels good. This is the good news. Like the greats that were here, the spiritual teachers that teachings were hijacked into religions. That's what they're talking about. You know, they're talking about you are God, right? The kingdom of heaven is within. I mean, that's, you know thyself. I mean, this has been talked about for thousands of years, right? So it's not a new realization. It's just, we've just been covered in so much muck, but now is the time where we're uncovering it because we have the information now. Because before, we couldn't read these books. I mean, you know, we didn't have access to the information. The internet allows us to have access to the information. And it's a double-edged sword because now there's so much misinformation. There's so much stuff out there. So you have to use discernment, you know, and you have to have balance as well and be able to do your own research and go with your gut and understand what feels right to you. But that's where we're going. And you can see it happening. And they have billions of dollars of resources and research to do this. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Age of Aquarius. That's too funny. Age of Aquarius. And we're talking about the 100-degree challenge in water. That just clicked. That's pretty cool. Yes. I mean, I'm on this journey as well. And it still surprises me to see some of the things and experience some of the things that I do as well. So I'm exploring this reality just as much as you are. So we're all in the same boat. See, I'm one of the first to come out about hearing the voice machine and how it works. All right. So we're gonna, that's all I wanted to talk about at this point. And let's see, V2K, we're gonna, V2K. And let's see, is there anyone, trying to see if there's anyone, wait. But yeah, I haven't mastered how to let people in yet. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. That's what I get for pressing buttons. So yeah, lost a little momentum there, but let's see. We'll get it back. while I was trying to get this back up and running, I did Google this V2K voice machine that one of the comments was voice to skull. And non-lethal weapon, which includes a neuroelectromagnetic device which uses microwave transmission of sound into the skull of persons or animals by way of pulse-modulated microwave radiation, a solid sound device which can transmit sound into the skull of persons or animals. Note, the sound modulation may be a voice or audio subliminal messages. One application of V2K is used as an electronic scarecrow to frighten birds in the vicinity of airports. And this is from 2004. And this looks to be a military document. That's interesting. So yeah, I was looking up this. One of the commenters was mentioning a voice to skull device, V2K is what he called it. Appreciate y'all joining back then. Sorry for knocking off or whatever. I didn't do it on purpose. And I know you guys can't see the screen. Yeah, you can't see what I'm looking at here because it's too white. But it is looking at a voice to skull device. And it looks like there's some technology that's able to transmit a voice inside of your skull. And that's very interesting. And supposedly this article is from 2004. Yeah, mind control machine. Yeah, it's very interesting. Now, so okay, we can go into some rabbit holes with this one because what was the controversial doctor that was on Joe Rogan? He was talking about mass formation psychosis. Is that what he called it? Mass formation psychosis. Yeah, mass formation psychosis. Just basically that that we're all being hypnotized. We're all being into this mass psychosis. But that's an interesting thought that, and it would not surprise me. It would not, and it's not pulling up the article. And this is from 2004. So who knows what kind of technology that they have now. And yeah, over 8 years of hearing it. So how does, so you hear that, John, and you've heard that, and you hear it now, or just curious? Because yeah, that's, you know, it makes you think too, when people say they have voices in their heads and they heard this, or something told them to do this or that, you know, who knows? Or this could be an activation of some sort. You know, there's so much technology. Yes, every day. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, I've never experienced anything like that. But it's, you know, the technology that we have is definitely more advanced than what we've been taught. And even the military will say we're at least 40 years ahead of what we've been taught. Plays with your dreams also. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things that I wonder as well. What level of technology are we truly at? I mean, you know, they limit us, and, you know, I won't be surprised if there's breakaway civilizations. I mean, we already have a breakaway civilization in this reality. We got the super rich, and we got the rest of us. So, you know, those guys are going to space and playing with rockets and satellites, and we're here just trying to survive and pay bills. When at the end of the day, all of this is free. You know, no one owns anything here. It's just crazy how we've got to this point. And it's, to me, it's so unnatural. Like, this reality is so unnatural. If you just look at the way humans react with each other in their environment, that's one of the smarter species on the planet compared to everything else on the planet. Like, it's just, and I believe it's because the puppet masters are not human, right? It's like, if you look at what's natural in our reality now, how unnatural it is, it will not surprise me if there's unnatural forces that are behind these kind of things, right? I mean, just look at the results of what we got going on. A destructive force versus a cooperative force. I mean, we got this far through cooperation, not through competition. But they want us to compete against each other because that keeps us separated. But that's interesting. I mean, who knows what's being really worked against us? We can see things publicly, but who knows what's behind the scenes? So I appreciate you sharing that. That is interesting. And we were just looking at this device for those that just came in. This is a voice to skull device. So if you have a voice in your head telling you crazy things, it's possible it may not be you. One of the degrees in the 100-degree challenge is you are not your thought. So to be able to recognize your thought and someone else's thought or another thought is important as well. And that may help you to distinguish between a thought that's yours and a destructive thought that may be outside yourself. So that's interesting there. But yeah, we've covered a lot of things. So we went through this. We talked about the red pill, blue pill, where consciousness is primary, matter is on top of consciousness. We're all conscious beings, spiritual beings having a human experience, spiritual conscious having a human experience, experiencing matter, versus the blue pill where matter is primary and we're on top of this as conscious beings. And just through some miraculous hitting together of molecules, consciousness happens. So I put this up at the front slide because scientists will talk about Occam's razor and what makes more sense, you know. And I've said this before, to me, it makes more sense, Occam's razor, that consciousness is primary to matter than the way they're trying to figure it out, where matter creates consciousness, right? So this makes more sense. This is the experience that we're experiencing, and this has more value for humanity. But we're being gaslit and we're being programmed to look at it this way because it is a control. It's the only way they can control us. Just think about the reality of lions and sheep. Lions and sheep. You can't control a population of lions. You can control a population of sheep, one shepherd, right? One shepherd can control a whole lot of sheep, but lions is a totally different thing. We're all lions. We're all made in we're made in the image of gods. We're all gods. But if they make us think that we're not, then we're easier to control. They make us feel we're subservient and that we need to have an authority figure over us to tell us what to do, to save us. The only thing we need to be saved from is the idea that we need to be saved. This idea that we need to be saved, a lot of it comes from religion, dogma, and things of that nature. These are all rabbit holes that keep us here, right? And when you look at these, a lot of these, they have similar themes to them as well. But most people don't see the whole picture because they're just stuck in their pages, you know? I'm only going to be on page 76 and 75, right? I'm not going to look at the ones before and after. And I'm not even going to look at who's doing the looking. That's the whole thing. You know, who's having the experience? You know, who is the scientist? I did a video on that. Who's the scientist? A lot of the things that we're creating are just unconsciously done, you know, and the reality that we want to experience is one where we're consciously creating, where we're thinking about things. And I feel there is a time frame before things get too bad to where it's going to be tougher for us to come out of it. And that's where the level of the sense of urgency comes from my standpoint, because again, it's like the rebels fighting against the you know, a Star Wars analogy, the rebels fighting against the Empire. You know, the Empire has all the money, all the resources, they got the ships and all of this stuff, and the rebels are the ones that, you know, are a ragtag group. But we have the Force, right? We have the Force, and just a matter of using that Force in unite. We haven't done it yet, but this is part of the process. See, I looked at it all the way back. looked at it all the way back to chaos. I wonder if someone worked and made the path. What do you mean by that? I did see you. I wonder if someone worked and made the path. Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit on that? Just curious what you mean with that one. Hey, what's going on? I appreciate y'all joining. But while we're looking at that, woke, not work. I wonder if someone woke and made the path. I wonder if someone woke. Oh, you're saying you wonder if someone woke up and made the path from this side to that side? Is that kind of the bridge? Because I mean, yeah, when you look at, I feel we're standing on the shoulders of giants just to get to this point. You know, just look at civilization. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. There's things we didn't have to invent, the wheel, fire, things of that nature. A lot of this spiritual work has been done as well. You know, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants as well. And yeah, these bridges have been made. I think part of the problem is they've been hijacked. They've been co-opted and siloed so that they don't really connect that person to that part of themselves. They just kind of keep chopping it up. But when you step back and you can look at the whole picture, then you can see. And you can see your connection to it. Yeah, the tree of life. Yeah, we're all connected to the tree of life. We're all part of it. And the thing about the tree of life, or any tree in nature, let me just Google tree, because I'm sure you guys have never seen a tree that's fighting its own branches. You've never seen two branches of the same tree fighting itself. You've never seen that. But in this reality, we're branches of the same tree fighting each other, right? It's very unnatural. It's very unnatural because we don't know our connection to each other in our source. That's where this consciousness comes in. This is the connecting part. This is the root of the tree, and matter springs out from that root. And we're just leaves on that tree in our physical avatars, but we're part of the tree and connected to the tree and experiencing the tree's leaves, if you will. I mean, we're using analogies here, but that's the trunk that connects us all. That's the root that connects us all. Yes, I think it happened to. Yes, I think it happened to hide that person. Yeah, but that's the thing now. And now they can't hide everything now. And what they can do and what they try to do is they try to ignore it. They try to make it seem like we're crazy. They try to make it seem like we don't know what we're talking about. They try to make it seem like we're conspiracy theories, whatever. But that's why I try to stay away from the rabbit holes. I try to stick to just the basics, because then we can narrow things down to these specific basics. And we can get into the details, devils in the details, but if we just stick to the basics, you know, we can systematically say, okay, you're saying I'm crazy. What's crazy? Where am I crazy? How am I crazy? Why am I crazy? What is the evidence to the contrary? Because up to this point, I've looked at all of that and shot as many holes in this as I could. So you're just not just going to be able to say, oh, that's just nonsense. You're going to have to show, you're going to have to prove, you're going to have to put forth just as much effort as we're putting forth to raise our consciousness to show us that that's not true. Sharon Ashtree, the wife of he at one time. Shira Ashtree, the wife of he at one time. That's the theories of TV, music, and religion. See, yeah, they wind together if they meet. They wind together if they meet on the same growth path. Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah. We can intertwine together. I mean, we can grow together. We can collaborate, but you won't see in nature a tree, one branch, the other branch fighting each other, right? I mean, you just don't see that. But in humanity, that's what we're experiencing, and that's just so unnatural. You know, you got this side fighting this side when they're connected to the same thing. It's really what it boils down to. Let's see. Yeah. Take the feelings out of the works. Take the feelings out of the works. Take the feelings out of the works. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Tree of life from the inspiration. Tree doesn't fight each other and it doesn't. Tree doesn't fight each other. It's change they fight. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Change. But that's one of the constants. The constant is change. So to be afraid of change is to be afraid of tomorrow. I mean, this moment changes just then, right? It's not static. So change is inevitable. That the river of time that we experience is going to flow. It's going to change. So, you know, if you can accept that and flow with the change and grow with the change and not be stagnant and just try to just stand on your own beliefs and your own rigid dogma because you just want to be right. You know, that's not the position you want to be in. That's you're going against the momentum of a whole lot of spiritual people, a whole lot of work was getting us to this point. And it's I wouldn't want to be on the other side. I wouldn't want to be over here trying to stop this wave from coming. This is going to be a losing battle. Just like I think it was attributed to Buddha, 3 things can not long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And now the truth is what's coming out, and it can't be hidden. So, you know, and I'm sure all of us have tried to show people other things, awaken people. And we know we can't awaken anyone. We can just be an example. We can show them the possibility. You can't wake up anyone. You know, I've learned that myself. As much as you love someone and want them to realize certain things, you can't do it for them. Just like you can take a horse to water, you can't make them drink. You can't wake anyone up. You can just be an example and show them that truth, you know, and give them something that they can say, well, this person changed, or this person is experiencing life at a better state, and maybe there's something to it, but can't wake them up. Correct fears keep them by. Absolutely. And they know this. They play on our survival instinct. That's why they want to keep us just in that lower level state of consciousness, just over broke, just paying the bills, just surviving, work a 9 to 5, retire and die. I'm going to get my rewards when I'm in heaven. You know, this is the devil's world, you know, and so it doesn't surprise them that it's corrupt and this, that, and the other. This isn't the devil's world. This is our world. You know, I've heard too many people like just discount it. Like you really think this world is the devil's world? Like it's okay for negative, bad, crazy stuff to happen because it's the devil's world. It's just an excuse for not taking action yourself. Let's see. I wonder if back in the day she prayed just to take a break. She was broken most of the time. Just thoughts. Yeah. Alrighty. So that is really what I wanted to talk about in a nutshell. I really didn't have much else to talk about. I just kind of wanted to show the basics. And again, the 100-degree challenge is out there. I've asked for it to be fact checked. Thomson Reuters, if I can pronounce it right, is the fact checking, the main fact checker for Twitter and Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. And they fact check posts dealing with topics of importance. You know, they'll do a lot of COVID-19 fact checking and tell you, you know, whatever they want to tell you, basically just sending you to the CDC site. But I asked them to fact check this. I think this is much more important than, I mean, tell me what's more fundamental than consciousness. Tell me what's more important than this, you know, this. So I'm asking them to fact check this as well. And her name is Helen Baker. She's the head of that group. And these fact checkers are just people. That's the thing. It's not like they have this thirst for knowledge or awakening humanity or helping on a large level. They're just people. They just have a job, and they can have agendas as well. So let's not, you know, and who checks the fact checkers, right? Who checks the fact checkers? Who watches the watchers? And just because they say something is true or false, you shouldn't necessarily just take their word for it. So this is common to CERN project. Didn't mean to scare you, but Johnny Wise. Let's see. Johnny Wise says some real stuff coming. We're in the middle of it now. And who knows what else is coming. But I'm not even really focused on what they're trying to do. I'm really focusing on what we can do. And that's kind of where I put my energy towards, because, you know, as much effort as they put in, there needs to be effort put in on the opposite side. I mean, they have the resources, they got the money, but we have the truth. We have the information, and we have the numbers. That's the thing. We got the truth and we got the numbers. 99%. I don't care what kind of math you follow, 99 is greater than 100. So we got the numbers. The problem is the 99% have been fooled into thinking that their value is less. Once they realize that they have the power, they've always had the power, just like Wizard of Oz, the power, you know, Dorothy had the power the whole time. She had on the red shoes. You know, they put a lot of stuff in movies. But she had the power the whole time. We have the power the whole time. We've just been fooled into thinking otherwise. We've been lulled to sleep through bread and circus and just distractions and all of this stuff. I mean, in my normal day-to-day, I don't have the opportunity to talk about this. You know, I work as an engineer, and in my job, the majority of it is here. I can, day-to-day, you can, it's like Groundhog Day. It's a script, and it's the same script. And it's just a cycle. You know, those people, they're going to be on that cycle until they decide to get off of it. It's just showing them that they can get off of it. And not only that they can get off of it, that it's more beneficial, because there's going to be some fear, because these people are plugged into the system. They're dependent on the system. They haven't experienced the freedom of not being plugged in. So they're kind of dependent on the system. Let's see. The mind to see and believe things would happen, just not. The mind had to see and believe things would happen, just not how everyone thought. And told there's no such thing. Will come to pass how it can. Yeah. So I don't know. That's really all I had. I don't want to keep you guys much longer as far as what I wanted to share. I thought we could maybe get into this, but I don't think we need to get into the different religions and things of that nature. But this is a book that I did read just to look at different belief systems, and you can see the similarity in a lot of similarity. And the whole thing is, again, this is a way to divide us, to keep us spellbound, right? You talk about spells and spelling and things of that nature. These books can be spells to keep us, you know, caught up in these words instead of having our own experience. You know, that's the thing. Have your own experience. Don't take my word. Don't take anyone else's word for it. If it's true, then it should be true for you to have your experience as well. Leads us to where we are today. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. I can speak on being a part of that spell as well, because I mean, if you were to talk to me, I don't know, let's say maybe 15 years ago. I've been on this journey for a little minute. If you were talking to me 15 years ago about this, I would have looked at you like, hey, you know, I'm saved and Jesus is this, that, and the other, and you know, that was it. You know, I didn't question a lot of things, and a lot of people do that as well. For one, we're indoctrinated from this since we were small, since we were young, and we believe Santa Claus existed as well, and we eventually were told that wasn't the case. And you know, some of us kind of wonder, well, why would mom and dad lie to us about, you know, Santa Claus? Well, yeah, they lied to us about Santa Claus for whatever reasons, but they also, they didn't lie about religion because a lot of them believed it as well. They just never questioned it. So it's not like a lie is when you intentionally deceive someone. So if I know the truth and I know it and I intentionally deceive you, then I'm lying. But if I don't know and I say something that's wrong, I'm just ignorant. I just don't know. But yeah, I know Janice. I'm on Santa again. Y'all, Santa exists for Janice, not for us. She's the only one that gets gifts on Christmas. Yeah, because where I grew up, we didn't have a chimney. So to hear Santa come down the chimney and all, it was like, when I was a kid, I was like, wait a minute, how's Santa come here? We don't even have a chimney, yeah. So yeah, religion has been distorted to control, absolutely, and it's purposeful. Because when you look at this, and this is something a lot of people don't want to look at as well. If it's on paper, there's a paper trail, okay? If it's written down by a man. There's a paper trail. You can follow the paper trail, especially nowadays. Before, we couldn't even read these books. Right? They were read to us, and then now, you got the Gutenberg press. Now these Bibles are out and things of that nature. So we can read them now, but we're still being told what they mean. But there's another meaning to them as well. But if you don't find that meaning out for yourself, you're just going to be told these meanings. And these people that are doing that, a lot of them are some of them may feel they're doing the right thing, but a lot of them are in it for power. Let's see, ink is the power, paper and ink is the power, yep. Yeah, and it's easy to do, especially when we've been through a school system that indoctrinates us to ask the authority figure, ask the teacher, ask the principal, ask someone else. And we get graded when we get information. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. I mean, they're still teaching stuff in school that's not true. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. We get graded on regurgitation. So I'm going to tell you all this blue pill stuff. You give it back to me. And when you give it back to me, you're going to get a good grade. And you keep doing that, you're going to be successful. You're going to graduate, you're going to get a high paying job, and you're going to be a good cog in the machine just to keep it going and keep it well oiled. Right? They don't teach you to think for yourself and all of these things. And I've talked to a lot of teachers, and a lot of them are frustrated with the way things are taught in the system. They're caught in that as well. A lot of things are being corporatized. The quality is coming out, and it's really about profit and numbers. I'm seeing that just across the board. You can see that from talking to policemen and firefighters and teachers. Like these are things that are supposed to add value. I mean, you want quality in your teaching. You want quality in your ability to respond to a call. You want quality in your ability to police. You don't want it to be just a numbers game. Well, how many calls did you have? Or what is your percentage? It's just the matrix of numbers and things of that nature. It's just a system that they put us on. But it's one specific way that we're allowing ourselves to interact in this reality, but it's not the only way. There's an infinite number of different ways that we can live on this planet that are not the way that we have now. We're only shown two different ways. And when one way doesn't work, or this party's in power, vote this one in, and it's just one hand and the other hand, but it's the same puppet. And we're not shown the alternative. And it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. If it works, it works. If it's a good idea, it's a good idea. We should be looking at the best ideas. We should be putting together the best practices, what they call it in business. Best practices, not along any party lines. What party? Forget any affiliation other than to us, to humanity, to the people, to freedom, things of that nature. So I mean, that's where the affiliation should be. The party should be what makes the most sense, what helps the most, what is in the most alignment with the truth, what is in the most balance. Yeah, a million different ways. Yes, optimism, and it's happening in the new world, new heaven, new earth. Yeah. And I just want to be a catalyst to that, and just be a part of that, because it is. Can you forgive me for being selfish and not being vaccinated? Yeah, of course. To me, vaccination is a choice. If you want to get vaccinated, fine. If you don't want to get vaccinated, fine. I don't think it should be mandated in any sense. And I don't agree with the amount of fear that was used to push the vaccines. That definitely, but Jesus, what's going on, boss? Yeah, so, and vaccination was just another, another thing to divide us, and who knows exactly what's going to come about with that. It's all new. So, it's interesting. They say trust the science, and everyone's all about science now, but this is science. Let's talk about this science. Let's trust the science. Let's look at this scientifically. They don't want to do that. That's too, just trust the science with what we want to tell you in our agenda. It's, safe and effective, and hopefully it is. I don't wish bad on anyone, but it's ungenuine for them to say that it's safe and effective in the long term because they don't know. They don't know. And I was going to pull up a video I did, but just because a lot of doctors say something doesn't mean it's true. I mean, you can pull up this. Something like this, right? These are ads for, and if you smoke or not, that's your choice. But we know now the adverse effects of smoking, right? But back in the day, you got 20,000 doctors saying it's less irritating and toasted and protects against cough and all of these things. You got doctors smoking and things of that nature. Just one example of, just because a doctor says it doesn't mean it's true. And then you can even look at the paper trail. Paper trail works with things that are written down, and paper trail works for money too. You can follow the money in a lot of things. Lots of people die in my area from strokes, heart attack, all of a sudden, all vaxxed. I don't know. I mean, I don't even get the flu vaccine, so I'm not going to get I'll tell you this. This is my thought process on the narrative that was created. Because if it was really about health, okay, then why is the only option that's being pushed to us these vaccinations and boosters and things of that nature? Why aren't there more things that are taught to increase your immunity? Why don't they say, hey, stop eating all of that fat food because that's increasing your comorbidities? Why not go out and walk and exercise and things of that nature, right? These things could help build your immunity, right? If it's really about health, then you should look at it holistically, okay? If you want to get the vaccine, then get the vaccine. But that was the only option that was really given to us. And it just seemed very coordinated. And I just don't trust. I mean, so just because it's approved by the FDA does not mean it's good for you. Look at all of the things that are approved for the FDA for us to eat and consume here in America that you can't eat other places. Just for example, all these FDA approved additives and things, carcinogens that they know are not good for us, FDA approved, right? So, and when you really look at that from the politics side, that's a revolving door. Those people in the pharmaceutical, it's a whole cesspool. Have you seen the new Matrix movie? They are a key fact. Yeah. They put it in our face, but they definitely put it in our face. Don't get it because you're here. And yeah, antifreeze. Yeah. All of those things. Yeah. I do like the older Matrix better, but it still applies now. And I think that the new one, how they're talking about the virtual reality, that's where we're going now. That's the whole push now. They're really trying to suck us into this virtual world. Infinite realities is creation. Infinite realities is creation and belief in itself. The belief is the outcome. Yeah. And belief is important because belief and imagination allows you to see things that don't exist now. And that's part of our creative ability. That's how we got to this point now. We're able to imagine and create things and visualize things that don't exist. Not many animals on this planet are able to do that. So if we can create and visualize a reality that's this way, then we can create and visualize a reality that's a whole different way. That's much better. But part of it is showing that vision, because some people they're following another person's vision. They're following another person's vision. And those visions that they're following don't have the individuals that's following them best interest at heart. I mean, look at all of the people that follow certain religions that don't have their own spiritual growth at hand, right? Yeah, we're definitely pushing the limits, and we're going to have to, because if we don't, who is? We're the ones that are saving ourselves. We are the saviors that we've been waiting for. We're the Jesuses, we're the Buddhas, we're the Christ. You are Jesus. You're watching this, you're Jesus, right? You're that being. You have the Christ consciousness within you. Christ is a title and not a person, right? That's why we're talking about this. That is the base of all of that. I used to be an atheist until I released. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Fallen angel. So I'll tell you, in my journey, when I decided to try to reprogram myself, I started from scratch. So I went through a phase of atheism to see if I can prove to myself that there was even the possibility of this thing called God, right? And so, yeah. And the cool thing, I learned a lot from atheists, a lot. If you want to learn about the Bible, then listen to an atheist debate a Christian, or, if you're a Christian, you want to learn about the Bible, because you will learn a lot from an atheist. The problem with the atheists is they tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Because I would agree with them on a whole lot about, the fallacies of religions and all of these things. But then they don't even look at themselves, So the question would be, okay, I agree with you, a lot of this is false, but who is the atheist? Who are you? That is the question. Who are you? So you can discount all of these things, but who is doing the discounting, And that's a question that you'd be surprised how many people do not ask. They just don't ask it. Let's see if I can. Yeah. Jesus was never, absolutely, Jesus was never supposed to be worshipped. Yeah, think about it. We're all the same consciousness experiencing its own creation. So why would we worship anything? Why does God need to be worshipped, right? If you're an artist, I'm an artist, I created this. I don't need this to worship me, right? I don't need my creations to worship me. Like, why would God be jealous? These are just things. Yeah, Jesus was just an example. And that example was put on a pedestal as something that was the one and only Son of God. We're all the sons and daughters of God. I mean, we can look at the Bible, even the biblical story in the Bible, there's two creation stories. There's the original creation story where Elohim, right, created everything, male, female at the same time, rested, said it was good, be fruitful, multiply, done, bam. And then in Genesis 2:1 comes the Lord God, capital Lord. So most of that Old Testament has to do with the Lord God, right? Which even biblically is not the original creator. And there are stories in the Bible where you got the God, the Elohim is the name they use, the Lord God, in Satan, all meeting together, if you think that they're all in the same, in the Bible, right? So these things are there. The color of blue and red mixed, divided by purple jealousy. Yeah, but it never made sense to me why God would be jealous, why God would like, smell the burnt sacrifices. I mean, if you think about it just biblically, the reason that Cain and Abel got into it because God favored one offering over the other, right? So speaking out loud is hearing yourself. So yes, place in seats of those who know No times comes from change. Yeah. I mean, this is our time. And there's a window of opportunity. And the thing is, I'm optimistic that we'll get out. I think we're getting out. But my thing is, let's not dig the hole any deeper, right? Because it's just more work it's going to take to get out of here. So let's stop the momentum going in this direction, and then let's start it to get going in that direction. Does our consciousness exist forever? Yeah, I would say so, because your consciousness is outside of space and time, right? So that's what this shows us. Matter or space-time is, let's just say your consciousness is fundamental. And the word or whatever, the vibration of this substrate created this reality, right? If you just, we're just using words and language, and it only gets us so far, and it doesn't explain anything. I can explain what something tastes like, but you have to taste it to have your own experience. We're talking, but yeah, your example would be look at your own life. You observed your life since you were a baby to now. Did your consciousness age, or did you observe your body age? Did you gained experience, but did your consciousness age? And that's a question that you can ask yourself. Your body aged, you saw that, but the observer, did that observer age during that process? Something that, I kind of try to use that as an example. It's more chaotic now, pure. Honestly, it's more chaotic now, pure consciousness without the physical reality is less. So if I die, my consciousness doesn't, just my no, so life and death, we define life and death in the physical plane, right? Consciousness experiences those things, if you can look at it that way. Life and death exists in this physical matter reality, space-time. Consciousness is experiencing space-time, is experiencing this reality. Your observer is experiencing space and time through your avatar, through your spacesuit. When you go to sleep, we don't exactly know where you go. We don't exactly know. In my opinion, since consciousness is the base of reality, you really don't go anywhere. You are already there. That's kind of the thing. We're observing this particular point. I'm observing this particular point in space-time, but the same consciousness that's observing this at the base can go around to the back of your head and is looking through you. And we're all observing this same reality, the same play on matter that we call life. I use the acronym for life, light interactive fractal experience, right? Because we're all light interacting with each other in this fractal experience, and we're just calling it life. But consciousness survives death, just like consciousness was there before birth. A lot of people say, well, what happens after you die? Do you survive that? But they don't ask, well, did you go where you were before you were born? Most people don't ask where you come from. Does consciousness survive birth? Or is there consciousness before birth? So birth, death, that consciousness is there at both ends of the stick. We are bioelectric bodies. When we die, we can send out a shock sensitive others can feel. Yeah. I've heard stories. I've never experienced death of I've never been there when someone passed, but I've heard stories of people that work with people in hospice and things of that nature. But I've never experienced that particular thing. Right. I had some crazy dreams, but used to escape my body when I was younger while sleeping. Yeah. So that's another thing. We really don't know what we're capable of. We have inklings. And we see humans do some amazing things, but we really don't know what we're truly capable of. And that limit has been put on us for a reason, to keep us controlled. Again, making us feel like we're sheep and we're lions, because a lion is going to roam and do what it does. But I think that's the new human is really going to explore the innate powers and gifts and abilities that we have that have been suppressed for so long. Spirit realm, which is the conscious. I think the mind is the portal. That makes sense. That makes sense. When we talk about mind, because I've heard it, so you got your brain in your head, but your mind might not necessarily be confined to your head, right? Your mind can be your mind is not confined to your brain, if that makes any sense. Like your brain is your CPU for your body and is an antenna, if you will, but your mind is not confined to your brain, if that makes any sense. Lots of things to be revealed. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing, we're the ones to reveal it. As soon as we realize that, like no one else is going to give us the keys to our own liberation, like it's us. We have to reveal it. They're not going to reveal it. It doesn't benefit them to reveal it. This whole monetary system, this whole fiat currency, debt slavery system that we're in, it does not benefit them to have a highly conscious society that is able to interact with themselves and bypass them. They're the leeches. Think about it. We're the ones doing all of the work. I mean, Facebook makes billions off of our data, look at TikTok. They're not creative. We're the creators. They just create the things that we pour our creativity into, and then they benefit from it. They siphon that. They drain that energy from us. They drain that creativity from us. We're the ones that are creating on these apps and these things that they put out there. And they're making money off of us. We can easily flip the script and still we creative. We want to create. That's what we are. We do amazing things. But who's to say we can't create things where it benefits us, right? We're doing it anyway. The 99% are running the world anyway, right? We're just allowing this supposedly trickle down, but it's really trickling up. The richer, just look at through the pandemic, how much wealth have the elites amassed. It's not coming down to us, but we're the ones doing the work. Jeff Bezos, even when he went to space, he was like, yeah, thank you, to all the Amazon people, we're funding these people. We give them our money and we don't get anything in return from them. And that's the thing, we should stop asking for anything, start creating our own things. I think that's the change. Believe in reincarnation or the belief of accessing the experience of past people. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, if your consciousness is outside of space-time, like, so we're experiencing space-time right here, right now. There's a part of us that's outside of space-time. Let's just say we're a quantum being, if you will. We're in multiple places at once. So there's our non-local consciousness, which is all there is at the base of everything. And then there's our specific local consciousness, which is this point of awareness that we are now. So if it's outside of space-time, then the past and the present and now, it all exists now. So you can access it. I mean, why not? If you're outside of space-time, right? It is connected in us all. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's forced me to seek answers to what it was. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys are ahead of the game. We talk about time travel. I mean, you're the time travelers. I mean, look at this. Look at the conversations that we're having now. Look at the awareness that you guys have compared to the masses. The majority of people are not on this level. You're ahead of the game. And there were people that were in the past. You look at these greats that were way ahead of the game. I mean, people were talking about this thousands of years ago. So how evolved and how aware were they? And when you tap into that, I mean, you're tapping into that same thing. I think time travel is experiencing the past life. Yeah, I think you can. I think you can experience like that information. Let's just say, if you want to look at it from an Akashic record standpoint, like if everything is like water has memory, right? For instance, water has memory. So what if the substrate that this is built on has memory? We can access that memory. Or one question leads to an answer, and the next thing, and the next thing. I always learn. Yeah, we're always learning. I'm always learning as well. How can we measure consciousness? We can't measure consciousness, at least from my perspective, because the act of measuring has to do with physical things anyway. Like, measuring is a three-dimensional physical activity. Consciousness is no thing, non-physical. So you may be able to measure the effects, but to actually measure something that's non-physical, I don't think you can measure. So that's one of the reasons why scientists stay away from it. It's like, I can put a ruler to everything, but who I am, that's the hard problem. It's hard to measure. So that's why they really focus on the things that they can measure. What if you leave your body via astral projection? And what if you leave your body to measure? So what if you leave your body via astral projection? Well, but okay, so if you leave your body via astral projection, if you're measuring your body, you're still measuring a physical thing. So I'm not exactly sure what you're saying there, for all nature. You may have to elaborate a little bit on that one for me. Because of the consciousness of someone spoke in my mind, God, the ultimate knowledge source, or telepathy. Because the conscience of someone spoke in my mind, God, the ultimate knowledge. Yeah. We're all connected to that source, just like the tree, we're all connected to that tree. And everyone, past, present, future, is just an example of what's possible. And it's up to us to do that work, whatever that work is. That's our individual past. We all have our own seasoning, if you will, our own traits, our own personalities to our avatars. That's part of our path. We're not all made the same. There's variety in all of us, but there is a oneness within that variety. And that's the experience. That's the thing that's experienced in all of this variety. So all of our paths are going to be different. And my path isn't going to be your path, but they all lead to the same place because we're all connected to the same thing. We're all leaves and trees and branches of the same tree. It feels incredibly lonely, and it makes me feel delusional sometimes. Yeah, well, hey, I mean, look at me. I mean, we have to build our own community, but yeah, it is lonely because, again, and I mentioned this before, you're ahead of the game, and when you're ahead of the game, when you're a time traveler, if you will, because you're experiencing a level of consciousness that the majority of people haven't even become aware of. You're experiencing that now. And as you get a taste of that and expand that is going to widen the gap between the two, because you're just raising your frequency, your vibration. It's like if you're at the bottom of the ocean and a bubble is going to rise to the top, it just automatically is going to separate. Oil and water is going to separate. It just does. It's just part of the process. And we create a community for us to show that we're not crazy and we're like-minded and we're experiencing the same thing. But it is lonely, especially if you're surrounded by people that are in there, that are stuck in matter. Are you familiar with the classified papers, Stargate? Yeah, I've looked at those to a degree. I haven't spent too much time on it. We're talking about the gateway process, things of that nature. Yeah, Soul was a good movie. Yeah, Soul really talked about. I was surprised at Soul, how much information they put in there, and I was excited to watch it and potentially have a conversation using that as a gateway, if you will, to talk about these concepts. But in the environment that I watched it on was with my family, and they're not concerned with higher consciousness and things of that nature. So I thought this would be an opportunity to kind of have a broad conversation. And a lot of that movie just kind of went over their heads. I guess they thought it was just going to be a kids movie. It really wasn't a kids movie. They had some cute stuff in there, but they really talked about a lot of higher dimensional things. There's a book by Michael P. Newton, Journey of the Souls and Destiny of the Souls, which kind of reminds you a lot of that in-between plane, which they showed in Soul, you know, and if they really grasp that we're spiritual beings, we're souls experiencing physicality, that's what that movie was saying, then all the things that divide us on the physical plane are really superficial and false. They're the matrix. They're the illusion. They're the illusion. All of the things that divide us are illusion. We're all souls experiencing this plane. Yes, patience is key. I used to say the one rule that you need to learn if you want to time travel is patience, which is kind of counterintuitive and kind of funny, but yes. You may be alone in your group, but you're not alone. Oh, look at Janice. She's popping in there with the love, you know, getting everybody hugs. And it's cool. It helps to know that, you know, there's a community of people that are like-minded. There's more of us than we know. I have conversations with a lot of people in different pockets, and you'd be surprised of how many people are having a similar experience. I mean, you can see it on TikTok and things of that nature, but even those that aren't on social media are experiencing these things. And this is what I want to see. We see the demonstrations for a lot of things when they protest and things of that nature, and they get together and show a group of people with a common goal, things of that nature. I like to see that from a spiritual standpoint. Let's see if we can make the news that way. 5,000 of us show up and say we're God, you know, and I mean, what happens then? Like, how are they going to gaslight us from that standpoint? And we're talking about basics. Right? We don't have to get into the weeds. This is what I like to see. Let's not get into the weeds. Let's just stick to the basics. Let's stick to things we can agree on. That's why I kind of wrote the 100-degree challenge. What can we agree on? Because we're all coming from different perspectives, different backgrounds, different indoctrinations. But what can we agree on as facts? And if we're able to do that, then when we're able to do that, we can see that the things that are dividing us are superficial. We agree on a lot more than many people realize. It's grateful that people help swallow this river that went down. See, I'm just grateful that people help swallow up the river. I went down in 2020. Yeah, but these have been some crazy years. Social media is bad for brainwashing, but good for spreading. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for sure, fallen angel. It allows us the ability to communicate because, as far as I know, none of us have a social network so we have to use theirs. But you know, the way that they've hijacked us, we're hijacking the same things that they've used against us to help liberate us. And I think there's a sense of urgency in the time frame because as you see the political correctness coming in and the censorship, eventually, you know, they'll want to gain more control over what is said and what's on their network. You're already seeing that now. Certain topics you can't talk about, or you'll get banned and they'll throw you off and censor you. So we have the ability now, and I think we need to take advantage of it. You became the devil in 2020, huh? Because no custody order and this father is a narcissist. I did so you. You're a narcissist. You're a narcissist. I didn't see you. Misery and people who manipulated things. Funny thing is my 4-year-old son. Huh? That's interesting. We can learn a lot from children if we didn't just try to import or implant our programming on them and learn from them and observe them. Because if you think about it, they're fresh from that spiritual realm. I mean, they live in a world of imagination and things of that nature, and creativity. And we beat that out of them. We beat the creativity and they come in this way. And the matrix just brings them down and just makes them a cog in the system. But if we're able to observe that part of them as they come in, then we can learn from them. You know, they can definitely be teachers. Let's see. When I was with my child, here's my thoughts. Yeah, children are very yeah, children are very, very aware. It's like we come into this realm. We don't have an ego. We don't have these things that limit us. When you look at a newborn baby, they don't even know they're them. They don't even have control. They're just pure consciousness, pure awareness. And eventually, someone calls you Michael or Victor, and you turn around and they got you. That's who you think you are. And now you have a personality or an ego. And I don't think an ego is a bad thing. Like I know some people talk about ego death and things of that nature. I think it's just putting it in its proper perspective. I think it's just putting it in its proper perspective. I kind of look at it as your avatar's personality, your own personal assistant. The issue is when people think that they're their personal assistant, and that becomes an issue when your personal assistant is controlled by this matrix with the things we showed earlier, with news and things of that nature. So that's that. Is there something outside of consciousness like another universe? My opinion on it is consciousness is primary, and there's multiple layers and levels to it. But other universes, parallel realities, all of that stuff is definitely possible and probable. Is there something outside of consciousness? I don't. The honest answer is I don't know, but I think consciousness is primary. I think that's the source of all being. There's nothing outside of it. Everything is inside of that, if that makes any sense. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Children see. Absolutely. And that's the thing, we tell them, again, we're just implanting our programming on them. And I think we can benefit from learning from them, seeing the unfiltered, undoctrinated state of that. That's what I think. Okay. Yeah. Good stuff though. I like the comments. This is a good one. Most of the time it's just me up here running my mouth. So I'm glad to see the interaction. That's cool. This is the sixth one that we've done, and I put this online, and it's also on the website, so you can see the other one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 6. So we're trying to build some momentum. These are all things. So think about it. We're time travel, so we're ahead of our time. These are all breadcrumbs that we're leaving for the people that haven't got there yet. So this bridge is built, but that doesn't mean that we have to stop here. A lot of us want to continue to grow and continue to expand, and we're going to do that. And the bridge is there. It works. We've all crossed it. So we wouldn't give someone a rope to pull themselves up if it didn't work for us, right? I wouldn't do that for you. This is a lot of effort and time to try to propagate a lie or to say something to harm or to hurt or to deceive anyone else. Like, that's not me. I feel this is valuable on a lot of different levels. So, and I wouldn't lie to you just like I wouldn't lie to myself. Part of my journey was putting out information that I would have liked to see during my awakening. And that's, my story, the whole vikterbang thing, which stands for victory over noise, is really about trying to make this as simple as possible. All right, let's see. Yeah, so the whole idea is to try to just make it simple as possible and just show that there's something there. My journey is not going to be your journey is not going to be mine. But again, we're all connected to the same thing. All the journeys lead back to the being that's doing the journey, right? So the whole spiritual journey is a big circle, because you are you at the beginning and at the end. It doesn't change. It's just uncovering all the crap that was thrown on us. The live stopped. Are we still live? He said it stopped. I guess we weren't. Let's see, can you watch the movie The Butterfly Effect? Yeah, Butterfly Effect is cool. Yeah, I like that movie. A wave making a loop around the world. Yeah. And the thing about the wave, I did a video on that too. It's funny you mentioned that, because I feel like I'm the crazy guy that's at the game and I'm trying to get the people to do the wave and they're like trying to watch the game and everything. But with the wave, it has its momentum and people are just, standing up and participating. That's the thing. To change this reality, I don't think it's as difficult as people really think. I really think they make it like part of the program and it's making it seem like it's so difficult and this, that, and the other. I think they try to make it seem that way. But it's not, because we're already doing it. The 99% have all the skills later. We know how to build things. We know it's just we've been co-opted into a system that siphons our energy and creativity, and it doesn't benefit us. It just goes to a select, and we're just doing it to survive instead of doing it to thrive. I mean, to simply put, the reality that I think we can create is one where you do what you love and you get what you love. You do what you love and you get what you love. So imagine a reality built on that. You do what you love and you get what you love. And the devil's in the details, of course, but imagine a reality where it's a community where you're getting the food from the person that loves to farm, right? You're listening to the music from the person that loves to make music. You're getting the art from the person that loves to make art. You're driving the car from the person that loves to work on cars. I mean, there's talents in all of these, in everyone. If we can connect our passions with our professions and create a reality where we support each other doing the things that we love to do already, then it's there. So just the idea, just the imagination, just the possibility of that happening, right? And we're talking about this. That's one thing. So it's up to us to create it. I mean, we can create it. I love how you said food from the farmer. Yeah. I mean, in my mind, it's really, you put people in a position where they're doing things that they enjoy to do and love to do, that you'll do anyway, right? And then if you're able to create a system that supports them for the other things that they need, right? So the guy that loves to farm, he's going to do all the farming stuff. Okay, but he's going to need a car, he's going to need this. And then that's where the guy that does the cars comes in. And the guy that does the cars is going to get food from the farmer, right? And going to get his clothes or their clothes from the seamstress or the and each person is doing the thing that they love. And when you really think about it, humans don't very much. We're taught that we're shown examples of these billionaires or these elites or rich people that have all of this materialistic stuff. Again, they're trying to fill a hole with matter that can only be filled with consciousness. So it's not working. But they try to show us that this is something we should do. But in reality, most people need very little to be happy. If you have your basics, I mean, not everyone wants to have a big, huge mansion. Not everyone wants a big yacht. Not everyone wants Bentleys and Lamborghinis and all of these things. A lot of people just want to live a nice, simple, clean, peaceful life and be healthy and do the things that they love and enjoy and be around things of beauty. I mean, that's really simple. Look at a child. Look at the simplicity. We talked about children coming in. Look at the simplicity of a child. They don't care about this crap, right? They really don't. They can be just as happy with a ball, right? All of this stuff, that could be one example of what really matters. You can't force a child to want $1 million. Like, for what? Like, it's nothing. Like, it's paper. It has no value to them. And it really has no value to us, but we've been programmed into thinking that that's it. And the system that we've allowed to be created around us is it's a way of control. It's a way of control. But yeah, most of us don't need a whole lot. I mean, I live a pretty simple life. I don't need a whole lot of materialistic things. and if I wanted to, I mean, I could make those pursuits. I could apply my creative skills, my intellect, to do those things. If I wanted to, I can be a pretty bad character. If I wanted to, I can use all of this information that I've acquired and this experience, and I could be a bad person, if you will. Not saying there's not or a limiting person, probably a better term, or a more controlling person. And there's people that do that. But I'm more for liberation, because I wouldn't want that to be done to me. You know, the whole treat others as you want to be treated. I wouldn't want anyone to withhold information from me. I wouldn't want anyone to hold me down. I wouldn't want anyone to limit me. So why would I do that to someone else? Especially if I know that we're the same thing and we're connected to the same consciousness. And I'm just doing that to myself. But if I'm not connected to that, if I don't know that, and I think that you are separate than me, then yeah, then there's competition, right? So, and that's the reality that we're in now. What's up, Lex? Some people love the Matrix, some want to stay programmed. They know diff, they know, yeah, there are those. Just like in the Matrix movie, Cypher, like you know, he wanted to be plugged back in, and he knew the stake was fake. He knew the reality was fake, but he didn't want to deal with the real world. And there's some people that are like that. Yeah, there's some people that are like that. I often know I could cause terrible. Yeah, and it's a choice. Like, we all have God in us and the devil in us, you know, and it's a choice of how we react. We're not just blindly allowing our emotions to run us. We're not just blindly reacting. We're consciously choosing to do certain things, right? I'm consciously choosing to talk about this kind of stuff. I'm consciously choosing to apply my energy to this type of thing. I could easily apply my energy to more negative things. That, I mean, I can, yeah, it would be easy. Especially when you see how the manipulation works. I mean, you can follow suit and play that same game, but that's not a game that I want to play. I don't want to be on this side. This is the wrong side of history side. This is not the side you want to be on. This is the old way. So and there's some people that are just, you know, they're stubborn. They don't want to change, and they want to feel greater than someone else. You know, some people don't like equality. Some people don't like the idea of me being equal to them. Some people want me to be underneath them because I'm Black. Some people want me to be underneath them. Some people don't like the idea of equality. They identify themselves with being greater than someone else. You know, they identify themselves with their riches, with their looks, with their house, with their cars. They identify that with them, when really all that stuff doesn't even matter, right? Just like it doesn't matter to a baby, right? A baby is not going to love you anymore because you have money, cars, and all of that stuff, right? They can care less. Titles, entitlement. So want to rid the world of titles. Yeah, and we love our titles, and we love our labels here, and a lot of us identify with them, and we'll take it to the utmost. But a label, and I did a video on that, or a title, it doesn't define anything. It's just a box, and just because you can label something doesn't mean you know what it is, or doesn't mean you know the essence of it. It's just a way to frame something, but the frame is not the picture. It's just a frame. A title or a label is just a frame. All righty, y'all. So yeah, appreciate y'all joining in. I enjoyed this one. We're gonna record this. It's gonna be up. For those that came in late, you're gonna see these two pyramids. We kind of talked through that. The whole intent is to try to explain this as simply as possible, And just to recap, and we'll go through this. Yeah, blue pill is consciousness is an effect of matter. Red pill is consciousness is primary, and matter is an effect of consciousness, right? And this is the base, this is the source, this is what we're all connected to. And everything that we see is built on top of that, and we're experiencing that. Whereas the blue pill is matter, is innate, it's unintelligent, it's just things banging up against each other, and all of this just happened, and consciousness just comes out of that, right? That's the mainstream. Yeah. Nah, no problem, Lex. Nah, hey, no problem. I appreciate you coming in when you did. I appreciate all y'all coming in. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Just it's crazy because those of us that are experiencing this journey, and we talked about this too, the bridge is there between the two. And just like you said, Lex, the people that want to stay on this side, they can stay on this side. That's their choice, right? We have free will to stay plugged in if we want to. Most humans are selfish. Most humans want to experience pleasure and they're run from pain. To some of them, it's more painful to take control, to be responsible, to take accountability. What's going on? Oh, what's going on, boss? Tarkanian. Yeah, the artist, man. A lot of people don't want to have that responsibility, right? And so they rather have the decisions made for them. The problem is, a lot of the times the decisions that are made for us on this side don't have our best interests. These are people that are controlling. I mean, just look at what's going on here. But since people are generally selfish, they want to have pleasure and run from pain. And we can play on the reptilian brain, if you will, just the common core emotions of humans. This is actually better, even for those people, right? It's still a better reality. It's still a more expansive reality. It's still better. They just have to see it, right? You know, it's like the 100 monkey effect. They just have to see it, and the bridge is there, right? And I think when they see it, they will they'll see it's better. They'll see it's better. And some may just superficially look at it. There's that going on now, but eventually, you know, they'll want to see what's really going on, I feel. And if not, then that's their journey. I mean, it is what it is. But those of us that are evolving, let's continue to evolve. I feel that by now, right, you kind of made your decision. You're on one side or the other. It's not a judgment or anything. You know, in my journey, I've been talking about this stuff publicly for, I don't know, 8 years, going on 8 years. And I wanted my family to be on this side. Like, I wanted to have my family with me and be like, yeah, you know, Victor, yeah, I was, you know, yeah, you know, but that's not the case. I mean, unfortunately, it's not the case. That's the choice that they made. And no matter how much information, how much examples, how much, whatever I tried to show them, you know, that's a choice that they got to make. A lot of it's dealing with fear. At least in my perspective, there are a lot of dogmatic beliefs. A lot of them think that I'm lost or that I'm going to hell, things of that nature. It's just based on religious beliefs. Yeah, that's that. You know? So, but the interesting thing about those beliefs, they don't look at the paper trail. They don't look where these things come from. They don't even research. Some of the beliefs is that you don't question God, right? Right. You know, these are things that are built into these programs to keep people from questioning the program. The truth does not fear any question. Anyone that tells you shouldn't question them, you should question them, right? The truth does not fear any questioning at all. So that should be one thing that kind of let you know that they love you and just can't see. I think they may love me, but I feel if they really did love me, they would try to understand me. I feel there hasn't been much effort on their end to even, you don't have to agree with me. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not saying that this is something that you can't prove to yourself. Like, I'm not, some people are afraid, but I'm not giving them a belief system or a doctrine or things of that nature. And since I went from what we were taught, and they'll say, oh, I'm smart, he went to school, he's got his degree, blah, 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 and I can do all of these things. I can be successful in all these ways, but I can't know what I'm talking about when it comes to my own consciousness, my own experience of myself, my own soul. I can't, someone else has to do that for me, right? It's just interesting how that happens. But the whole thing that got me, I understand the fear involved in the belief systems, right? I get that. My thing was that you've known me my entire life, and to just be discounted because I don't follow this set of beliefs, and you don't even know why, you don't even question why, right? And that part of it, it's just a lack of understanding. It's just like, it doesn't agree with what they're saying, just dismiss it, nothing to look at here. See, me too, I got too many arguments over time and realize people don't want to. Comfort, yeah. And you hit it then, Lex. Comfort, because ignorance is bliss to a degree, but I said to a degree, but it is comfortable, especially when you're surrounded by people that reinforce those beliefs, and you got like-minded people that are in the same boat that you are. Even if that boat is sinking, just the fact that you got a lot of people around you kind of helps, like the whole misery loves company thing. And it is comfortable because you don't have to do nothing. I mean, that's the beauty of the system that we were given. You don't have to do anything. Someone's going to do it for you. Someone's going to save you. Someone's going to, all you got to do is just, believe and repent and get your tithes and all of this stuff, and everything's going to be taken care of. Don't worry about what's going on here. This is the devil playground anyway. So, they're expecting this just to go to hell, but they're going to get the reward in heaven, right? And you have to, just got to believe. So it's very comfortable. It's very convenient. Most of the things that are made convenient, question, food, fast food is convenient. Doesn't mean it's better for you, right? There's a lot of things that are convenient and not necessarily better for you. Let's see. It's like an invisible field of two magnets. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that way. And a lot of it's not their fault, because there's a lot of fear involved. There's a lot of fear involved. But I still do feel that, for one, just using my example, and yeah, they see, oh, he's got a couple people on TikTok or whatever, but they don't see that. They don't see that as any validation to anything that I'm saying, that I have people that resonate with what I'm talking about, or that have had similar experiences, or things of that nature. They don't see that, because they don't want to see that. And it's just one person right now, and there's more of us here, but eventually there'll be a mass of these people, and then they'll have to deal with it. And especially if they want to talk about it from a truth standpoint, from a factual standpoint. Do you really want to go there? Do you really want to break down this belief system? Do you really want to do the paper trail? I mean, a lot of people don't, but it's going to have to come out eventually. It's going to have to come out eventually. And you guys are ahead of the game now. You're the time travelers now. You're on this side of the bridge now. So being ahead of your time sucks, Yeah, religion was just misled. Yeah, religion in itself. What's going on, Ego? We ever talk about how hard it is to go against the grain by yourself? Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. I mean, we're going against the grain. I mean, all of us here are going against the grain. So we can all agree that it's not an easy thing. It takes bravery. It takes boldness. So pat yourself on the back. I know I don't give myself a lot of credit, and maybe you guys like me, but pat yourself on the back for where you've gotten to this point, right? I mean, that is an accomplishment. In this reality, to even have the mind frame to even question is an accomplishment. I mean, it is an accomplishment. Yeah, there is truth in religion, but it was misused. there is truth in religion. There's definitely truth in religion. But it is definitely misused and was used to control. And a lot of the religions were built around people that had, just like me and you, that just had spiritual experiences. And they told other people, and they said, oh, well, that guy must be special, or that guy must be special, and this is what they said. And, they make a whole bunch of teachings about them. And eventually, just like the game we probably all played in school, where you tell one person something and they tell the next person, they tell the next person, eventually, you got a guy that's walking on water, and feeding people with, feeding 5,000 people with a couple loaves of bread, when he probably just, made a couple of hamburgers or something, and it just got exploded, just saying things can be exaggerated, right? But yeah, there is truth in the religion. And that's the thing about this book. Talk about the religions, and it boils down a lot of them to the similarities to the kernels. And it really boils down to the individual, to the person, to the soul, to the consciousness. That's what it boils down to. What we got is we got people, Bible thumpers, or whatever book you're holding, you're thumping this thing. And all I'm saying is, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying about this book. Those words are not going to change. That spell is not going to change. My question is, who's holding the book? Who's reading the book? Who are you? Right? That is the question. And that question, only that person can experience that. Let's see, right is why the tree is hidden. Yeah. And so are you talking about the tree of knowledge of good and evil? I didn't see you. Is that what you're talking about? Hey, what's going on, Janice? Good to see you. Because that's another thing. There's different levels to the Bible and things of that nature. Tree of knowledge of good and evil. How the Lord God didn't want people to get that tree of life. Yeah. Didn't want us to have everlasting life. Didn't want us to know the difference between good and evil. Really, when you look at, and there's different parables and ways to look at the whole story of the Bible, Adam and Eve. I mean, again, Adam and Eve weren't the first creation, weren't the first man or woman. Adam was the first creation by the Lord God, right? You can rewind that verse and you can see that male and female were created at the same time by Elohim, which is like a plural, right? Where they created man in their image, in the image of God. Then you got the Lord God, and he's tinkering with, dirt and making Adam and all of this stuff. But, and I've heard a talk about this, talking about it from a different level, how the Lord God, or Yahweh or Jehovah, however you want to look at his name, is really a lesser being. He's not the creator of the entire universe, he's a lesser creator, which genetically created Adam and Eve and wanted them to be subservient, wanted them to worship him. He was a jealous God, right? He wanted his creations to force them to love him and all of this stuff, and didn't want them to be self-aware, right? But they became self-aware. That's, and we can get into the whole Satanist deal, but that's why a lot of people worship Satan, because they think Satan told the truth, that God doesn't want you to eat this fruit, because then you would be able to see how he sees, you would know what's going on. So, Satan opened their eyes, right? He was the adversary, and they bit the fruit and they became self-aware. They knew they were naked. It was like an animal, the dog walking around doesn't know, it's not self-aware, it doesn't know it's naked. But if it was self-aware, then now, it wants to cover up, right? So they became self-aware. And God didn't like that. It's like, oh, who are you talking to? These people made you self-aware. You're not supposed to know who you are. You're supposed to be an animal in the field. You're not supposed to know that you have that divinity within you. Who told you that? And okay, they didn't like that. And then now, they don't want you to get everlasting life, because then you're like me, and that's a limiting God. Like in the beginning, when we were created in his image, everything that we got is the same thing that God has, right? Just like, any loving parent will want their kids to have the same things that they have, right? Who would want to limit that? Who would want to, what loving parent would want to punish your child forever for what they did, right? I mean, it just, a lot of that stuff just doesn't make sense. Spiritual crypto was good, man. So, yeah, so that's part of the thing too. And that's a story. And the whole fear, this you know, that whole Old Testament is pretty much about pleasing the Lord God, right? And then you got Jesus that comes in. Look at the story of Jesus and the Beauty and the Beast story. So then you got Jesus that comes in, and Jesus is like, all right, he's against the church and the state pretty much, right? And you know, he was teaching the Pharisees. He was you know, he was teaching them like he was talking about the second birth. The second birth is a spiritual birth, right? And he was talking to the, you know, the church of his time, which was controlled by the state, Rome, right? And he was schooling them. They were like, "What do you mean second birth? You know, are we gonna go back in the womb?" Like, this is what they were saying. And he was like, "Nah, it's a spiritual birth. It's this rebirth, right? That's what he was talking about." But they didn't get it. You know, they didn't get it. They didn't want to get it because they had a deal going on. They were making money, and they were, you know, they were under the state. Same thing now. State and religion are, you know, peas in the pod. So it's interesting that they've taken the story of Jesus, who was against the church and state, co-opted his story and made him, you know, this patriotic, you know, character that loves the church and state, when he would have been railing against both of them. Let's see, but the lumberjacks, chapter 9, those who come after me will do greater things. Yeah. MLK, JFK, and you. I did see you. Yeah. Those and you. Let's not discount ourselves in that. You know, that's one of the things that I'm attempting to do, just as an example. And yeah, it's you know, you shoot for the stars and land on the moon, right? But that's a challenge to all of us. That's a challenge to all of us to do those things and greater. And those things are here to be done and should be done and need to be done. Like, we need everyone on this live to go out and be Jesus, right? Be damn Christ. Like, you know, we need all of them, definitely. So yeah, and that's the thing. Don't discount yourself. That same Christ consciousness is within you. Same thing. You're part of the Trinity as well. You know, they hijacked that. You know, they took instead of the mother, father, and child, the Trinity, which we're all part of, they did the mother, not the mother, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You know, they took the feminine aspect out of it. You know, they tried to make it you know, that's what they did. You know, we're a balance of both masculine and feminine. Both are important. A lot of the, at least in the Christianity that I was taught, was very male oriented. Women couldn't preach. Women couldn't do a lot of things. You know, and it was quote unquote biblical. But no, we're all part of the Trinity. You know, Father, Mother, and you. Trinity, right there. Holy Ghost was mother. Well, yeah, the Holy Ghost was mother, but they don't give the Holy Ghost a feminine attribute, right? The Holy Ghost is not a motherly thing, at least in the doctrine that I was brought up in. There is no feminine aspect really in the church that I've seen as I was indoctrinated and came up. You know, it was you know, masculine. It was just, and you know, part of the world we're in is an unbalanced world. A lot of masculine, a lot of boys that haven't grown up playing with war toys. Like, I've seen this. Now I'll show you this, and then I'll leave you guys alone. Because to me, this just looks like big kids playing with toys. And there was a, because you know they're talking about this whole Russia Ukraine thing. There was a let's see, it just looked like a Hollywood movie. And I can't find it offhand for some reason. But basically they had these Air Force, let's see. Exercise. Yeah, I can't find it offhand. I'm not gonna waste your time with it, but it looked like a commercial, where they were, yeah, I look at RT as well. When I look at news, I look at CNN, I look at Fox. Like I try to look at the different, because they're biased, right? But you can just see, I just take a pulse of it and see what the right's saying, what the left's saying, because the truth is somewhere in between, right? But there was a video, and you can see, I kind of want to pull it up to show you, but I'm not putting in the right keywords, but it was on RT. But anyway, it just looked like a movie, the way they were all sailing, and then they had the planes flying over. It looked like something you would see before the Super Bowl, right? And it just reminded me of just kids these people that are sending these people off to war, right? They're not going. The people making the decisions, like, they should be on the front lines. If you're going to send somebody to fight, they're going to send your daughters, your sons, but they're not going, right? So they're just, they're sacrificing other people for what? Why are we doing this? For what? But anyway, it's just like big kids playing cops and robbers and playing with big toys. That's really what it looked like. It just really looked very, very childish. War is something that perpetuates more war. It's a cycle, and eventually we'll realize that that's a cycle that is not fruitful, and it just brings more war. It just continues, and it benefits some people. That's why they continue to do it. The rules apply to the general people, but not for the because the elites are the one that are involved in the rule making. Yeah, they're involved in the rule making, and we're the subjects. But just like the movie Ants, where the grasshoppers and the ants, where the grasshoppers are kind of like the elites and the ants are the 99%. There's a scene where they were trying to squash a couple of ants from, rebelling, because, and the one grasshopper was like, I'm paraphrasing, the one grasshopper was like, well, it's just one ant, but the other one was like, yeah, but there's more of them, that's just one. But that idea, there's more of them than us. There's more of us than them. So that's why this information is dangerous for the status quo, but excellent for us. Excellent news for us, dangerous for the status quo. So, and the status quo, you can just look at where the timeline's going, and it's going to be self-destruction. And if we do nothing, that's what we're going to get. And a lot of people are expecting it. That's the whole funny thing too. This is the end time. They're expecting it. They're waiting for this crap to happen so Jesus can come and save them. They're waiting on that, which is part of the program. It's like, oh, well, yeah, we read about this, we heard about this, but they don't even think that the people that are giving you this idea are the same ones that are doing these things. I mean, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, we won't even get into that. All right, y'all. Well, I've been on this joker for a minute. We went over a little bit. I appreciate y'all joining. We'll do it again. We'll do it again Monday. If that's cool. Yeah, I'm with you. Janice. No more status quo. And appreciate it, y'all. Think it was a good one. We're going to wrap it up because I don't want to make the video too long. We're going to repost this and we'll do it again. But simplicity. We're looking at simplicity. They want us to get caught up in the details. The devil is in the details, but I'm looking at this simplistically so that we have a framework and a way to just show the possibility. All right, y'all. Appreciate it. Y'all be safe. And we'll do it again. Love y'all. Peace.